Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer transfer plea with just a few days left of this transfer window. I can't even read his name, says Mark, you're late, so a song is owed. Well, as about Ole's at the wheel, tell me how good does it feel? Because it don't feel so good at the moment, does it? But I think the problem's beyond Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to be honest with you. Lots and lots to talk about. I'm going to give you a Bruno Fernandez transfer update at the start because even though that's not really what we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Apparently, this was in the Standard. He's got his scouts scouring Europe for a striker that we can loan in for the last few months of the season. I would have thought that maybe we might have been a little bit prepared more than that. I mean, Marcus Rashford's injury wasn't a surprise. He had a stress fracture of the back already. He had problems with his ankle. And now, with 10 days to go in the transfer window, we're scouring Europe for a lone striker. I mean, it's just amateur hour, isn't it? But Bruno Fernandez update. A lot of people negative about the Bruno Fernandez thing. You know what? I think I had the excitement. No, what the honest truth with Bruno Fernandez is, I thought we were going to sign him in the summer. We didn't, and I left him like the Titanic. You're on the bottom of the sea. We're never going to see you again. Then a week and a half ago, we're suddenly getting credible people saying that we're in for him. Then on Friday, it's not his final game, and now it's gone very, very quiet. Portuguese outlets are saying that there's a potential that it might not happen now. English outlets have gone quite quiet on it. I think the truth is I still think it will happen. I think it will happen. I still think that United are very close to an agreement. There is talk of this thing that we spoke about in the summer, whereby if you bid for Bruno Fernandez, whether the club reject it or not, they have to pay Bruno Fernandez €5 million. And I remember that from the summer, so that's obviously still in place. And United have apparently had a €50 million bid rejected. So that means that $5 million has got to be paid to Bruno, which Sporting will want to recoup. So the reality is Sporting Lisbon want €60 million, which is about £50 million. And as I said at lunchtime, that's what we paid for Fred 2 years ago, and Fred's not an attacking midfielder. So I don't get United's stance on this. It's the wrong stance. And I think it's just because they haven't got any money. I've been saying this for a while now. I don't think we've got any money. If you listen to what Sky was saying earlier on, over the time that the Glazers have been here, yes, they've spent money, but they've taken £1 billion out of the club. In that same time, Abramovich and the Man City owners have put over £1 billion into their club. So how can we be successful when our owners have taken £1 billion out of the club and other clubs who are competing with us have put £1 billion into their club? It's ridiculous. And here we are. I think what's happening with the Sporting deal, and I think if it collapses, we know what's going to happen. This is because United won't pay the €60 million that they didn't want to play in the summer either. So we're exactly where we were in the summer. It's become more high profile this time. It's more known that we're in for him this time. And United have got to pay the fee. And I agree with Sporting Lisbon to say, you know what, up yours. And their assistant has come out tonight and said, we don't feel like he's leaving. Bruno's not acting like he's leaving. We have him have a game tomorrow and we just carry on doing our thing. So Sporting have definitely, quite honestly, said, that's what you've got to pay. If you don't pay it, we'll crack on. And all I can ever think about this is the January transfer window. So in the January transfer window, you either pay the price for the player or you don't. We're halfway through a season. They're not obligated to sell us to him, sell Bruno Fernandez to on the cheap. So yeah, I think that where we are with Bruno Fernandez, would I be surprised if this deal didn't happen anymore? Of course I wouldn't. This is Manchester United. I've been saying this all along. That deal should be done. There's no doubt we're in for him. There's no doubt we want him. There's no doubt that he wants to come to us. And there's no doubt that Sporting Lisbon want to sell him to us. But would I be surprised if Woodward and co mess this up? Of course I wouldn't. So we'll have to just wait and see. I wouldn't say I'm relaxed about it. I'd say they've sucked all the joy and excitement out of the deal. You know, the one player that I want us to sign. Thank you very much, Manchester United. You've absolutely sapped all the excitement out of that one. And we're now just sat here going, are you going to announce it or aren't you? If you are, great, let's crack on with it. If you're not, well, we're not surprised. And that's very sad, isn't it? But that's how I feel. Imagine how long Pogba's transfer is going to take to negotiate with Real or Juventus as Alligator. It'll be all summer. We'll be all summer dealing with selling somebody. We are going to be taking your calls. Discord invite link is in the video description. We're taking some of your calls in a minute, but there's a few things I want to get through. And on the calls tonight, fast and furious. I want to take as many as I can. Couple of minutes tops. You come on, you say your piece, and we get the next one on. What do you think Ollie's doing with Lingard? Says and the ban one game, and I've got no interest in what he's doing with Lingard, to be honest with you. Have you? He's awful. Letting two of our forwards go in the summer and don't replace them. Rashford has been ran into the ground, and now they realise they need a striker too late. Says Connor Brooks. Spot on. Spot on. So apparently it was reported today by the Evening Standard that who I think are one of United's people that they leaked. And can I just say as well, United have made a signing in January. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but Manchester United have made a signing in January. Is it a director of football? No. Is it a striker? No. Is it a midfielder? No. Is it a PR guy to make the Woodward and the Glazers look good? Ching! Our survey said, yes, top answer. We've got Neil Ashton, who used to do Sunday Supplement and be the Sun. He has now been brought in by Manchester United as a PR person. So basically, rather than buying players or directors of footballers or improving anything on the pitch, we've gone and got somebody who's basically a spin master to spin the positivity around the club. I mean, I can believe it, but I can't believe it. I mean, we need to spend money on the pitch to develop what's happening on the pitch. That's how you get your positive spin. It's just ridiculous. This is why we're a business and not a football club. What do you spend your money on? You spend your money on the pitch. If you start doing well on the pitch, you don't need a PR person. But no. We go and get a PR person in to come and spin the positives around Manchester United. You can't polish a turd. Spend the money on the pitch. It's as simple as that. And just to read you some of Gary Neville's quotes, finally feel like we're starting to get a bit of headway now. You know, the fans in the ground are doing fantastic things, singing about, you know, the Glazers and Woodward. That's long overdue. Fans and social media and the media in general are starting to pick up on it. And then you've got Gary Neville coming in with this. We've got the second highest wage bill in the world, and that's the squad we've got. It's unforgivable. It really is. And this is what we've been saying on here for a while. How can we have the biggest wage bill in the country, and yet you look at our squad and you go, how have we managed to do that? And what he also said is, how is it that someone like Ed Woodward, who's basically sat over 6 years of consistent failure, how can he still be in a job? So very, very accurate words from Gary Neville on that. Hi Mark, Ollie should be sacked. Hi Mark, Ollie should be sacked. The management of the players is poor, the tactics are poor, and our squad is being run into the ground from the coaching, says Jay Singh. I think in relation to Manchester United, there's just so many aspects at the moment, isn't there? I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes out after the Liverpool game and he's talking. I can't believe he said this, but Simon Stone tweeted it, who is a very credible journalist, got a lot of time for what he says. He tweeted something this morning. I had to quote tweet it and said, "Are you joking?" And basically what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said, that was a better performance than when we lost last time under Mourinho. So now we're celebrating not losing as bad as we did last time. I mean, you could not believe this. And it doesn't get microscoped because it's not Mourinho saying it, it's not Moyes saying it, and it's not Van Gaal. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the legend. But some of the stuff he comes out with, at least we didn't lose as bad as last time. I mean, I thought we could have got something out of Liverpool yesterday. I mean, fair play to Liverpool. They're going to win the league. They're doing very, very well. But there was opportunities there. And that team's not good enough. We basically were playing with 9 men at times. I thought Dan James was invisible. Pereira was very, very poor. So, Matic and Fred together aren't creative enough, but they battled. So we didn't have Rashford. And we still only lost 2-0. Now, Liverpool could have took that game away from us at the start of the second half. But I think with a couple of better players, with Rashford and Bruno Fernandez, we could have won that game. So we're not that far off. A lot of it is and also the first goal was just ridiculously bad coaching on zonal defending. So I think what's holding Manchester United back is bad coaching, bad medical staff. Marcus Rashford may not be back until April if we're lucky. And what I mean is it might be longer than that. And he's got a piece of bone floating in his ankle. He's already got a stress fracture to the back, and we're playing him game after game every 3 days. And then we're surprised when he's injured. You look back to Paul Pogba playing him for 90 minutes when he's got a problem with his ankle against Rochdale in the Carabao Cup. He misses 4 months. I mean, the club from top to bottom is in an absolute mess. But to take it away from Ollie for a moment, because I think we're all aware of his issues and his coaching issues. We're all aware of the medical staff. Back onto recruitment. How can it be that Lukaku and Sanchez leave the football club, right? We knew going into the season that the midfield was weak, but when we actually went into the season, we're like, not only is the midfield weak, we've got nothing up top. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, you've got people like Chongi, Gomez, Greenwood. These boys are ready. They're not being loaned out. These are ready now, right? 5 months later, they've hardly played at all. Rashford's out. We play 3 forwards. We've only got Greenwood and Martial and James. The only 2 after those are Gomez and Chong, who are out of contract and can leave in the summer for free. So the mess when you try and basically, with Manchester United at the moment, you find a major issue that you cannot believe, and then you find 4 or 5 other things. And that's what I found today with Chong and Gomez. I'm like, well, Rashford's basically out for the season. We haven't bought any strikers in. We messed the Haaland deal up. You've now got us desperately searching around Europe to loan a striker, not buy a striker. We're searching Europe with 10 days to go for a striker to loan, even though the transfer window has been open for 3 weeks, and even though we've known for 5 months we haven't got any forwards, we're now desperately searching for something now because we're not prepared. It's just absolutely a circus how we're being run. But on top of that, if Martial gets injured or Dan James gets injured, you're going to have to use Gomez or Chong. But they're leaving. They're walking out the door for nothing if we don't get them on a contract. So what we should be doing, first thing this morning, should have been Gomez and Chong. What is it you want to stay at this club? Sign up, please, because we need players. But no, we haven't done that. We're letting players walk out for nothing. Cavani seems like a bad signing right now because of our lack of creativity. But do you think Cavani makes sense if we also get Fernandez, says JK Dowdle? I've done the video on Cavani. Check it out. Transfer video this afternoon. Lots and lots of reasons, but I'm 100% certain that Cavani would be an absolute disaster of a signing, and there's 4 or 5 good reasons for that. We've spoken about that. We've spoken about that. Bruno. Gary Neville, how in a job for overseeing that. Billion, Chong and Gomez. Bruno. There. Okay, and I just want to also mention our next 5 Premier League games. Just this is what I wanted to mention before we start taking some of your calls, actually. Liam Brown says, Ollie would be better for a sporting director or backroom staff role than a manager role. Also, how long does it take to make Bruno lift up the shirt? Liam, I've got to just jump on you there, and I appreciate the super chat. Thanks for that. But does anybody think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would make a good sporting director? I just think that's a sympathy vote, to be honest with you. I think that's a total sympathy vote. Because we love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, let's not mess him. It's basically, to me, that I perceive that as, let's not let Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mess up our management anymore. Let's find him a job somewhere. You know when you find somebody who's crap a job because you don't want to sack them. That's what it feels like. If you don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is good enough to be our manager, then sack him. You can't give him a sporting director role or a director of football role. What does he know? Like, Wan-Bissaka wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's signing. We'd been tracking him for a year. Harry Maguire, we'd been tracking him for a year. And Dan James was a recommendation from Ryan Giggs. So everyone who says that Ollie's signings have been good, just because they've happened on his watch, doesn't mean that he was a part of that. I think Bruno Fernandez is somebody that he said yes to, and I think Erling Haaland was a signing that Ollie wanted. And it's just such a shame we didn't get him, because Erling Haaland could have been, well, look what he's done for Dortmund straight away. He could have been really good, but I wouldn't give him sporting director role. I'd just get rid of him if that's what people think. Thoughts on Jovic, Alcázar, Muller or Diego Costa as possible loan options? Bench players from top clubs are our best bet, says Duncan Sell. I'm interested to see what we're going to do in relation to loan deals. I think loan deals automatically say we're not a big club, but we're not a big club at the moment. But if you're getting loan deals off other big clubs, that shows a sympathy, doesn't it? So, it just shows you where we are at the moment, I guess. I would be really surprised if we managed to sign a striker in less than 2 weeks, and in the summer we won't have time to replace Pogba. Great, says Adam VSC. And Inter have just put a bid in for Eriksen. They're signing 4 or 5 players in January. We can't sign one. Demko, I agree with you on that. I think Inter Milan are doing very, very well. Real Madrid have bought a lot of players in. Atletico Madrid have bought a lot of players in. It's all a load of rubbish that you can't sign players. To be fair, Chelsea need players, Arsenal need players, Spurs need players. They've not bought anybody in January. I don't think this is anything to do with January being a difficult market. I'm just highly dubious and suspicious about what football has become. If you think about it, TV deals have never been so lucrative for football clubs. Prices for tickets and shirts keep going up as well. Sponsorship deals are huge. So clubs have never been so rich, but nobody wants to spend any money. It's all about making money. It's all about taking your money and sponsorship money out of your hands into their pockets, and that's what football clubs have become now. Unless you've got a Man City owner who just wants their club to be successful as a sort of toy, then or Liverpool who just want to be the biggest club in the world and are willing to put the money into it, Manchester United, as I said, £1 billion taken out of our club when nobody else is doing that in the top, who were trying to win titles, apart from Arsenal, and look at where they are. Ollie's next role at the club, Fred the Red. Get him the mascot head ASAP, says Al E. Gator. I just want to start taking some of your calls, but also please do smash a like on the video, everybody, if you are watching live. But United's next 5 Premier League games, if you aren't aware: Burnley at home, Wednesday night. Wolves, I think it's the 1st of February at home. Then we've got Chelsea away, after the little sort of winter break thing, which is a couple of weeks. Then we've got Watford at home and Everton away. Now, look, those games on paper, you could, if you're Liverpool, you'd say we're going to win all 5 of those. For Manchester United, Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Chelsea away, Watford at home, Everton away. I could see us maybe winning 3 of those, because that's what we do in consistency. But I could also see us not winning any, because we haven't got Marcus Rashford now. I'm a big fan of Anthony Martial, but I just don't see how we're going to beat teams, because I don't see enough quality in that team anymore. And I think this is a massive problem that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got, and this is the transfer plea he needs to be making, hence the title of the show, because he's got 10 or 11 days to basically save his job. I think if this inconsistent start to the season continues to the end of the season, he won't be in a job in the summer, he'll be gone. So he's basically got 10 days to save his job. In many ways, he's got to get Bruno Fernandez in, and he's got to get a striker in to give him any chance of producing something in this second half of the season. If he can hang in there in a top 4 race until April, and maybe you get Rashford and Pogba will be back by then, and McTominay, then results should improve. But if we don't pick up points in the next month, when we've not got Pogba and we've not got McTominay and we've not got Rashford, then we're in trouble. And the only way he's going to do that is by bringing some players in. And the absolute laziness from this football club to do anything about it. As I said, this January transfer window has been open for 3 weeks. Why are we now negotiating with Sporting Lisbon about it? And I think this is one of the things as well, and maybe it's the PR spin that people just lap it up and start believing it. But even if you are one of those fans saying, we're not going to be held to ransom, for you to do that, you've got to believe 2 things. One, you've got to believe that Bruno Fernandez isn't worth £50 million, €60 million, which is ridiculous when we paid that for Fred 2 years ago. And you look at what, Bruno Fernandez provides goals and assists, which are always going to be worth more than a CDM. So he is worth more than what we want to pay for him. That's one thing. So I don't know why fans are moaning about that. And the second thing as well, you've also got to believe that it's acceptable to be on the 20th of January negotiating with Sporting Lisbon when the January transfer window started on the 1st. What have I been doing for 3 weeks? Why was this not negotiated through December? Why has this deal only started being done halfway through the transfer window? It's unacceptable on every single level. Welcome to Fire, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Jordan Such, thank you very much. He says, I thought Bruno would have been in for the Liverpool game. It's certain he won't be in for the Burnley game, whilst he is playing another game for Sporting this week. Either they have no intention of signing him, or what the hell are they waiting for? Just on that, Jordan, you make a very good point. He won't be playing against Burnley. I'm sure the deadline to play against Burnley may have already passed, or maybe noon tomorrow or something like that. But he's not even left Lisbon. He's not had his medical. This isn't happening. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to wear the number 25 shirt and we sign him on Saturday, to be honest with you. Something stupid like that. But if we ever do sign him, maybe we won't sign him. What I would say is, everybody keeps saying, as United fans, we're going to have to hold the L if we don't sign Bruno Fernandez. Don't disrespect yourself like that. You've got no right to hold the L if we don't sign Bruno Fernandez, because it's not our fault that our club's run by plonkers. We don't hold the L on it. Any club would have been expecting Bruno Fernandez to sign. When you've got people like Simon Stone and James Cooper and all the outlets saying United are close to this deal, you've got every right to believe it's going to happen. The only doubt you have is the incompetence of the football club. And if we don't sign him, that's the reason. That's nothing on the fans. You're humans. You've got to believe. Even if you have your doubts. Ewan Rowland says the club is so hypocritical. We're using the same tactics with Bruno that Inter did with Lukaku by not playing their value. And Ian Ramos says it seems that as fans we can actually do anything to help the club, which is sad. We can't actually do anything, he says. We can't sack Woodward or the Glazers. What can we do? And Nitin Mendigarka says Ollie won't go because of the results. He will go when he questions the board. And I'd love him to do that. I'd love him to just say, I can't do this job, they're idiots. Imagine the uproar that would come. He could just go out as a martyr. He could basically just sacrifice his job for Manchester United to tell the truth about what's really going on. And he'd be a legend. Well, he's already a legend, but he'd be a legend as a manager as well. Alexi Uti says, your attacks on Ollie are ridiculous. We deserve to be where Arsenal is. He is not perfect, but at the moment he is overachieving for the squad he got and a horrible bench and terrible owners above him. Well, for one, I don't know what you're talking about because I've never been Ollie out and I've just said there what he could do to become a legend. And for two, I'm sorry, I will speak what I think is the truth. You don't have to take it. You can call in right now and tell me I'm wrong. This is just my opinion. The United Stand fan cams, call-ins, comments, you have your say. You've just had your say. Well done. That is your opinion. But I will not sit here and say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a good coach when zonal marking has cost us goals for the last 6 weeks. So I'm sorry. I think that's not just him. That's Carrick. That's McKenna. I want them to be a success. Of course I do. I think the best thing, and I said it with Mourinho, when you've got a manager that's failing, the best thing that can happen is that they turn it around because it's less disruption, it's less money. But I don't believe he's going to be the man, do you? Obviously you do. And Kevin Barrett says, from your experience, who do those who support Woody and the Glazers blame for the state of the club? I don't know anybody that does support them, to be honest with you. I don't know anybody that does, because I think it's just win, lose or draw, back the team mentality. I think it's a pride mentality. I don't think there is a United fan out there that think the Woodward and Glazers have done well. I think 99.99999% of United fans would swap them tomorrow. But it's we're not able to do that, are we? We're not able to do that. We just have to plough on with what's going on. And I think it's going to be, I don't know. I've said it myself. I think it will get worse before it gets better. I really do. And I think, as I've said for the last few days now, I don't think we've got any money. I don't think we've got money to spend. I think Manchester United is a cash cow for the Glazers. That's what it was bought to be. I mean, I speak to people quite a lot, and it's funny. I was talking to Tony, who does Hotel Football, and we were talking on Friday, and we both were talking about the Glazers and said, look, take your emotion of Manchester United out of it. You've got to applaud the Glazers for what they've done. They bought a club on a load of debt and have made hundreds of millions of pounds out of it. They're not United fans. They're not football fans. As a business opportunity, you've got to applaud them for what they did. Apart from the fact, if you're a United fan, you despise them. But what they've done is they bought this brand that was going to make hundreds of millions of pounds for the next 20 years, and they bought it on debt. And they've kept that debt and just used that money, take it out. We got absolutely sold down by the river by the Glazers. But as a business decision, what a business decision it was. But we, unfortunately, are massive, massive victims of it. They bought Manchester United to make money for themselves. They didn't buy Manchester United to see us win Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. I know we did, but that's because we had the greatest manager there's ever been. It's now an impossibility to do that. And David Walsh says United are in 5th but could easily drop in the league table. Look at the fixtures in the table. 9th is still possible. It's very close between 5th and 12th, I think, David. I think we'll hang around. I mean, look, we shouldn't be in a race for top 4, but then again, you can't say we're lucky to be in it because Chelsea have lost so many games. Ollie has no future plan. He's just holding on, says Denzel Posmini. Well, let's take some of your call-ins anyway. I mean, I've had my say. I want to take some of yours, but let me just show you something first. This should work. Okay, so this is the Discord page. There's a link in the video description for you to join it. It always I remember when I first went on it. It always looks a bit of a mess, but basically, when you go onto Discord, you've set yourself up. You'll come into this area, which is basically Discord, right? It's the things down the left here that you want to take notice of. United Lounge. So if I click on transfers, that's just like a normal forum. People are in there all day chatting about stuff. You can just type away in there. I've had to say about Cavani being a total waste of time. So we'll sign him. Laugh out loud. I'm so funny, aren't I? Then if you move past the lounge is all the places that you can just type out conversations. If you move down the lounge, you'll come to the calling queues where you can just go into the calling queues and you can just have a chat with people basically. And see, I can hear people in there now. But I'm going to go into the live show because I want to get some callers on. But if you want to get talking with United fans or you want to chat with United fans 24/7, that's how you do it on the Discord. Have a little play around with it. But we're going to take some calls on the Discord. And as I said, we're going to be really quick. I want to grab quite a few calls tonight and see what people have got to say. in the chats. Let's try Ryan first. Hello, Ryan. How are you? I'm not too bad. Go on then. I'm going to try and get a few callers in, so just go for it, mate. Let me tell. What do you want to talk about? Yeah.
And I know you like to talk about Bruno a lot, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, really. It's just taking too long. And I'm worried myself that this isn't going to happen. But, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, I think I might have had you on mute at the start there because people are saying, but I've got you back now. So basically what Ryan's saying is a bit of worried about these Man City rumours coming out about Bruno Fernandez. I haven't mentioned it today, and I've done 3 videos. This is the 3rd of the day, and I purposely haven't mentioned it because I've got to be honest. If I can give anybody any good news, I think that's a load of bollocks. I really do. It is as well. Because isn't it something like they're going to give them 100 million euros in the summer? And
they want to make him their most expensive player, and it's going to be a big thing. But I think it's just coming out of Portugal because they want to put pressure on United because they won't budge. Typical stingy Woodward doesn't want to pay the extra money, and it's sad, really, how long this has dragged on. I know, and I'm worried for your health, mate, if this doesn't happen because everyone's so invested, but you've been the most invested out of a lot of people I've seen. So,
to be honest, as I said a few minutes ago, look, I'll be disappointed if we don't sign Bruno Fernandez, but I've got to say, I don't know how you feel about it, but this is the one player that I want us to sign. But I've got to be honest, I actually do feel quite relaxed about it because I think they've zapped all enjoyment out of this transfer.
Exactly. And
I expect it to happen, but
you look on Twitter and you see Bruno Fernandez. I think I've amount of times I've gone onto Twitter, seen latest, people always talking about it. The amount of United fans that are so invested in this, as much as you have been in the summer, I am at the moment. If this doesn't happen, I think Woodward will have questions to answer. Ollie will definitely have questions to answer, and there'll be a lot of people unhappy. There'll be unrest. If you think that the Glazers out chant at Old Trafford was bad enough, it could be worse because it's been leaked by Simon, hasn't it? It's been talked about. The only person that really hasn't said anything about it is Fabrizio Romano, but he is only the one that kind of talks about it when it's really close, and the fact that he hasn't said anything about it shows how poor we are doing deals. It's just
he's been very, very quiet about it, hasn't he? We just had a comment there from somebody saying that with regards to United, how much did we pay to get rid of Jose Mourinho, which I think was around £20 million. And yet, do you think there is money there to spend? That's one thing I wanted to... There's a few things I want to ask.
I heard your point about do we have money, and I'm thinking we're United. We're one of the 3rd richest clubs in the world. We can't afford Bruno Fernandez. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm also thinking about, we paid 52 million for Fred, and I know he's coming through now, but Bruno is proven, and we can't seem to budge. We can't seem to budge on that. That's just, I don't know if it's poor scouting or, as you said before, Ed is he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know the footballing decisions. That's why he's reluctant to bring in a director of football, because he knows that his position will be at stake. So, yeah.
Ryan, thanks for opening up the call. I hope a lot of people saying you sound a bit miserable. At least we've got United stand.
No, I'm not that sad. I'm just, thanks. See ya.
No worries, mate. Cheers. There's good points there as well about the Fred thing. I know I've mentioned it, but it is true. And Paul Abruzzi says that MUTV have stopped all calling shows to stop us having a voice. Glazers and Wood are thick-skinned and won't flinch. Look, I do empathise with people who work on MUTV, even though some of them like to slag off other fans. But the reality is, if you're working on MUTV, you're basically, you're just one of the Glazers' money men, aren't you? You say something bad, you're out of a job, and it's a moral thing, isn't it? Some people are reliant. That's a wage. That's their job. So I don't criticise people on MUTV for just being Mr. and Mrs. Positive, because that's their job. It's not easy to just get sacked and go and get another job, is it? But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a Manchester United fan, and he will believe that he is staying in that job to turn it around. But he will know more than us the mess that club is in. We know the medical staff's a joke. We know recruitment's bad. We know we've had 6 years of poor management. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will know all that, and he will have actual evidence of it day in, day out of how badly run that club is. But he still stays in that job, even though he's a massive United fan like most of us. So, but he'll be doing that because he'll think he can change it, even though every day he's effectively banging his head up against the brick wall. Right, let's take another call. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody, as well. All right, let's get... I don't know who this person is, so I'm just going to say, hello, you're live on the United Stand.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Mark?
Well, I'm all right, but in life general, yes, I'm good. Manchester United, not so good. What do you want to talk about, mate?
I want to talk about two things. First of all, I want to talk about Ollie, and then I just want to talk about the British media because I'm from America.
Okay.
So first with Ollie, I just have a few things. So a lot of people, there's obviously the massive like Ollie out movement, and I'm just opposed to the sort of Ollie out idea. Not because, trust me, I know that the brand, the style that we play is garbage. In the U.S., I have to wake up 7 a.m. to come and watch us kick a ball around for 90 minutes and do nothing. And I have friends that live in California. They have to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. I know more than anybody that's terrible. But what we were saying at the start of the season was, you even said, like, oh, I think, I don't even know if we'll make it to top 6. We'll be lucky if we make it to top 6. And now we're in 5th, and we're, 5-6 points behind Chelsea. And that is, we were thinking that we weren't even going to make top 6 with healthy Pogba, healthy McTominay, before Martial's injury, healthy Rashford, and thinking that we were going to get reinforcements in January. So I think that even though Ollie isn't necessarily like a world-class manager, he's done well enough with what he's had. And I just don't understand the criticism. And I think it all comes down to, we've said it time and time again, but it's the Glazers and it's Woodward. And honestly, Woodward just needs to go. And I think that's the only way that the winning mentality is going to be restored to this club, is by getting Woodward out. And because he's just finished. He needs to get gone. And that's honestly what I think is the most important issue. We should not be concerned about Ollie. We should be concerned about Woodward.
The official dunk says Bruno's out of the Sporting Lisbon header on Twitter, apparently. I don't know whether that's relevant or not. I don't think it is. But just to come back on you on that, I mean, look, I agree. I said at the start of the season we will struggle to get in the top 6 because I was very angry about the lack of investment. And you're very right. I said I want Woodward out and I want the Glazers out before Solskjaer. And I still do agree with that, because I think even if you change the manager, you're still going to have the same people. But what I would say is, for all the Ollie outers out there, I've got to say, and I'm not an Ollie out, but I am very critical of him. I didn't expect this season to see what I've seen on the pitch. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a good coach. I think tactically he's very naive, and I think we've seen no improvement. And I know you're right, we haven't had Pogba, we haven't had Martial, we haven't got Rashford, we haven't got McTominay. But how many times have we been entertained? And we've played how many games this season? Over 30. And I just don't see any vision, any philosophy, any style of play either. So I agree with you. I think Woodward and Glazers have got to go before Ollie. But I also agree with people who are very critical of Ollie, because I'm like, I didn't expect us to play this badly. And I think that's an indictment on him as well. But what was your second thing, quickly? Because I want to get some other callers on.
So I just we were talking about this in the waiting room, and I just don't see where, like, we all know, all United fans know that Ed Woodward is the problem, but we never see that on British media. Whenever I watch like Sky Sports or any other, whenever I see the pundits talking, they never are willing to call people out. They might loosely sort of allude to like the board, but they never directly call it out. Where in the US, we have like Stephen A. Smith will call an entire team or a person or a coach disgusting, like just atrocious, say whatever he says, but nobody is willing to just step up in the mainstream media and call it for what it is. And I think that is honestly the only way that Ed Woodward will ever lose his job, because right now he's just going to sit there and let the small little sect of like sort of the United Saint community just say whatever they want, because he's still making money. So I just don't understand what it is, and I don't know what the way forward would be, I guess, with like how would a fan community go about making radical change, because I think that getting Ed Woodward out is the only way to do that.
Thanks for calling in, mate. I'll pick that up with the live comments now, but thanks for calling in, and we'll get you on again soon.
Great, thank you.
Cheers, pal. I mean, just on that, I mean, I haven't answered that point really because I want to get another caller on, but also because we did speak about it at the start, and the caller may not have been aware that in so many words, Gary Neville has come out and said that, you know, the way the running of the club over the last 6 years isn't good enough, and Ed Woodward shouldn't be in a job. I think it could be more vocal. That's his podcast. I'd like to see him doing it on Sky Sports. I think Jamie Carragher yesterday, if you saw the argument between Keane and Carragher, and Roy Keane's my favourite player in my lifetime for United. Off the pitch, I think he's a bit of a mixed bag. You know, sometimes he says good stuff, sometimes he comes out with absolute nonsense, like the tackle on Luke Shaw was a fair tackle. He also said that the foul on Van Dijk yesterday wasn't a foul. I don't mind if Liverpool score legit goals, but that was a foul. And Evra was right, and you've got Souness and Keane saying it's not a foul. It was blatantly a foul. I'm sorry, Roy, have you ever played football? Of course you have. You're a bloody living legend. That's a foul on the goalkeeper. It would have been a foul when you were playing as well. It's always been a foul. So that was a foul. But Carragher gave Roy Keane opportunities last night to go, the Woodward and Glazers are at fault, and he didn't really do it. And I don't know why they don't. We've not really had... I know they've sort of flirted with it, but nobody's, you know, Giggsy, Scholesy, Gary Neville, Keane, Ferdinand especially, they won't do it. And I don't know why, because actually at this point, by not doing it, it raises more questions than doing it, because it's so obvious that the problems with Manchester United are the owners and Ed Woodward. It's so obvious. So why not say it, I suppose. Right, let's get another caller on. Who are we looking at? We'll try you. Hello, you're live on the United Stand.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I think I've heard you before. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Thanks again. I'd just like to talk about, I was going to talk about Woodward, but I've already had that. But I think personally the wage bill at United has been horrendous, to just show the kind of equality between how bad the players are and the wages, if you get me.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing that Gary Neville said, and I know I've mentioned it a lot, but I think sometimes it comes across more powerful when Gary Neville says it, because a lot of people respect Gary Neville more than they do me. He said it's the second highest wage bill in the world, and we've got that squad. It's unforgivable, it really is. And I would love to, if people wanted me to do it, I'd love to sit down and do a video about it and try and figure out how. I mean, like, Man City and Liverpool have got so many better players than us, and how can we be paying more?
Exactly, like, how disgraceful is this in our club at the moment? We have to try do something about it as much as we can. If we all boycott one game and 20,000 people, how much of an impact would that make as well? Because it just shows how deluded Woodward is, how deluded the owners are. Because Pereira yesterday was the player on the pitch, in my opinion. He gave away so many balls, did shocking shots for no reason, and lost the ball so many times. And I'm not going to lie, Lingard would have done better in the game just flapping around, and he still is terrible. Our team is so bad because the wage bill just goes to show how dumb we are. I don't know how some players get this amount of money, or this and this and this. Like, there must be some players that are on 200k. Jesse Lingard soon, in my opinion. He's going to sign a new contract, in my opinion. They're just waiting. Like you said, like, I'm going all out here because this club is so frustrating to play with. Like, we could have went any way with that game yesterday, played any other way, and we go to decide to play that way. Oh, it's just mind-blowing.
I mean, off the top of my head, I was just thinking there when you were talking, Juan Mata's on 160 grand a week.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire must be on about that. Luke Shaw's on about that. Lingard, you're right, will be on about 100 grand a week at the moment. Ashley Young was on 120 grand a week.
Yeah.
Sanchez is still on 400 grand a week, and we're paying half of that. You know, Martial's probably on 200 grand a week. Rashford, Pogba, you know, we but it's unforgivable when you think that people like Andy Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mane, people like that, they're probably being paid less than someone like Juan Mata, who's a bit part player. And yet, and this is the thing for me, I want to ask you about Bruno Fernandez. And yet, we've got the biggest wage bill in the country, but we won't pay £50 million for Bruno Fernandez. And I must just clarify there, it is £50 million because it's 60 million euros that Sporting want, but we won't pay 50 million, which is what it is.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Disgraceful. I said to you during the summer, I think I remember that I didn't think we were going to sign him, unfortunately, and that was the week before transfer window did. We never did. I didn't get hyped about the deal at first because I thought this exact thing would happen. And it's just frustrating. Like, he could turn into one of the best number 10s in the world because he has the passing, he has the flair, he has the shooting, he has everything, he has the work rate, and we just won't pay that extra 5 million. And if this transfer breaks down or falls apart, this has to be, I'm not gonna lie, this has to be the worst negotiations ever, in my opinion, like for a transfer, because the reason I'm saying that might not make much sense because I said it wrong, but I mean, like, how can you break down this deal with the player we need most, not even expensive, but if you're going to pay 80 million for Harry Maguire, who's a defender, and you're not going to pay that for an attacker who's going to be doing it all, I don't know how this club is still living at the moment, and they don't even have the money probably.
No, I think you're right. Well, thanks for calling in, mate. Really, really good call.
Could I just, Paul just asked me, could I shout out my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, could you sub to TFK Esports? Thanks, Mark, for having me on again, and thanks, Paul, for picking me, and sub to the United Sun, obviously, because we're a great show.
So I'm just writing down the name of your channel because I'm going to go and check it out myself. So cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Thank you again.
No worries, mate. And just on that as well, I just want to say, I'm going to get another caller on in a minute, but I just want to say this. We've had a couple of super chats first as well. Leo Galang says, can the YouTube community do something to unite fans and arrange serious protests? What would it actually take? We can't just sit back and watch the club burn. I mean, unfortunately, I've said this before and a couple of people have touched on it. You know, the United stand can't do anything about this. I mean, we've been going through over the last few weeks for different reasons. Some of them are our own fault, I must admit. We've been being attacked outside grounds. Not physically, I'm not saying that, but you know, there's been some unrest, and that's when United are playing not well. You've got different fanzines, you've got different fan channels, you've got different websites. We're anything but united as a fan base. There's people who think they're better than them, they're better than them, we're better than them. So it's never going to happen, unfortunately. And also, what I would say is it's somebody's personal choice to go to a game. You cannot say to 75,000 people, don't turn up. You can't do that, unfortunately. So this is why the Glazers do well. But what I would also say is this. I think Bruno Fernandez is worth 60 million euros, which is what Sporting Lisbon want, which is 50 million pounds, right? I think that's what he's worth. United don't want to pay it. But the scary thing is, this is the January transfer window. It's halfway through the season. If you're going to buy somebody in January, you cannot start going hardball because it's halfway through the season and they can just go up yours. If anything, you've got to pay 70 million euro because you're getting him in the middle of the season, which is hard for Sporting Lisbon to replace him. They don't need to sell. It's a seller's market, and we are trying to negotiate a deal down because we're stupid, and we should actually probably be paying them a little bit more to get him. Mark Robinson is on 40k a week, go figure, says Paul Banks. Apparently Mane is on £80,000 a week, which is half what Matters on. I sang there because I don't know why. Mr. Berg says, hi Mark, do you think it's possible that a new manager would be able to demand a minimum spend of 200 million and insist it's in their contract that they get it? That's the only way I can see change. I would hope they could, but maybe the next manager just makes the mistake that Mourinho made the mistake that Van Gaal made, that, you know, I can come in and change this club. And you don't. You need a lot of money to do it. Fingers CZ says, I don't buy any club stuff, no t-shirts, no scarves, no mugs, nothing. I'd urge everyone to do the same until Glazers are forced to sell. And the real Dave T95 says, is Woodward seriously this stupid? Fans would do better. I think the big question mark about Ed Woodward, just before I take another call, the big question about Ed Woodward is this. He's a brilliant businessman and he's a terrible football man. Right, he's a terrible football man. Why is he a brilliant businessman? He was a banker, but why? Where's the evidence of him being a brilliant businessman? He gets brand deals, but loads of people brands want to be sponsoring Manchester United because of us. Because of the fan base, it's huge. Of course, a brand wants to put their brand in front of millions of fans. So, but if he's such a great businessman, why did he let Ander Herrera walk out the door and not give him a new contract? 25 million walked out the door. If he's such a great businessman, why do everyone's contracts run down? He thinks he's saving money, but it actually creates a bad atmosphere. And also, if he's such a great businessman, why is everybody on stupid wages? Like, Liverpool are about to win the league. They're going to break records. Most of their squad are on half of what people like Juan Mata are on what people like Luke Shaw are on, what people like, you know, Victor Lindelof are on. We overpay. We overpay. That's where this club went wrong. We overpay players. They should want to come to... Liverpool haven't got a problem. Andy Robertson plays his heart out every week for what? 50 grand a week. And yet we pay people 3 times that. Like, it should be the other way around. We're Manchester United. You should want to come and play for us. Because I tell you what, there's far more benefits playing for Manchester United than there is to the Liverpool and Man City. Because if you play for Manchester United, your social media, your brand deals, your sponsorship, everything's going to be a lot bigger than it is at those clubs because we're massive. So, but yet we still pay them stupid wages. Apparently Woodward and everyone are great businessmen, but they pay stupid wages. So I think even that's becoming a bit of a question mark, to be honest with you. Welcome to Jordan Such, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. If that's Jordan Such who does the contributions, I'm surprised you weren't already a member, Jordan, but there you go. Right, so let's take another call. I'm going to get Dan the man on. Dan, how are you doing?
What's up, my man?
Happy New Year. I know we haven't spoken this year, so but starting a positive.
Yeah.
But go on, tell me how you're feeling.
Nothing happy about the new year. We still suck.
What do you want to talk about, pal?
What do I want to talk about? I don't know. Where do you want to start? The manager, the board, which obviously we know needs to change. But to me, I think it's. I understand that the bigger problem to me is Woodward, even more so than the Glazers. When we had David Gill there and the Glazers were there, we were still winning consistently. We knew how to get a deal done. Now we don't even know how to, fold the napkin in half at the dinner table. But the manager's just as bad. I mean, I think Nuno Espirito Santo's got something like 18 or so points from losing positions. How many points do United have from losing positions?
Well, yeah, I think not many. I can't think of many times we've come from behind this season or at any time under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, have we, really?
No, that's what I'm saying. And for people to sit there and constantly defend the indefensible, it's just really got me at my wit's end, man. I'm just fed up. How could you say that he needs more time? They've been zonal marking for 2 months. What's going to happen with more time? More zonal marking? If you ain't found that out in two games, not even 2 games, 2 halves of football, that you shouldn't be zonal marking at this level, something's seriously wrong. And to persist with it, and then he goes out after the comments and says, it was really upsetting that we conceded from a corner. Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, I mean, on the zonal marking thing, I think you can zonal mark at the highest level, but what we're showing is that that's not the way to do it. I wouldn't personally do it anyway, but I mean, I want to stick with Ollie then, because I think we've spoken about the board and everything tonight, and it's interesting. It's always good to sort of give both sides, and I know there's a lot of people in the live comments who have been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out for a long time. Are you someone, Dan, who would be Ollie out and would be looking to change him now, or do you think that do you think there would be an improvement, or do you think that it wouldn't be much of an improvement to change him? Because some people say that. What's the point in getting rid of him? It's still going to be we're still going to be run by Woodward and the Glazers.
Yeah, but at the same time, if your tires are flat on your car, you're going right. If the engine's broken, that's another problem altogether. But what are you just going to do? Let the thing rot altogether? So because the board sucks and the manager sucks, well, we're not going to be able to change the board, so we'll just keep the manager here because it all sucks. So why don't we just keep it sucking all the way through? That's just a horrible mentality to have. That's such a poor mentality to have. Like, I was thinking, 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, we're sitting here being upset that we lost the Champions League final. Now we're getting upset because we're losing at home to Crystal Palace. And we're going away to Liverpool, getting embarrassed. A game that should have been 3-4, 5-0 that we only lost 2-0. And people are saying that, the lads, applied themselves well today. They should have had their heads held high. For what? For what, man? I've had enough of this. I really have. And to sit there and say that just because the playing style might not change and whatever else, like I said, no points from losing positions this year. 0. Okay? None. Why are we going to keep around a manager like that? Something's got to change, man. And I know that things have to change at the top, but they're not gonna right now. People need to wrap their brain around it. Yeah. We could say Woodward out, we could say Glazers out, but it ain't gonna happen. Get the manager. Like, buddy, you're a legend. We get that, but don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, I'm sorry, man. I can't wait to see the back of this dude. I really can't.
I think I think what you said there is a wake up call to United fans as well, because Woodward and the Glazers are not going anywhere. And Peter Turney says, I do think Woodward should go and the board, but do the board tie Ed Woodward's hands behind his back also? And I've heard that a lot, that Woodward does get very frustrated about his perception that maybe he is just their mouthpiece. But if you're their mouthpiece, you're part of the problem. But the reality is, I don't think Glazers and the Woodward are going anywhere. But does that mean that you just keep Ollie? Because actually, if you got rid of Ollie and you bring a better coach in, we will see some improvement on the pitch. That's the logical point to it. I think he's going to be in place down till the end of the season. Do you think he will be able to last beyond the summer? And I say that in with context. I say that because I think to survive, and I think to go into next season, he's got to win a trophy or get Champions League football. Do you think he can do that between now and May?
Champions League football, no chance, because they're not going to spend any money. See, if they were going to spend some money, I remember the last time I called in, I said they need to sign at least 2 players. If they don't sign at least 2 players, they're not getting top 4. There's 10 days left in the thing, or 11 days left, whatever have you. It ain't happening, mate. If they don't sign the players, it ain't going to happen. And the biggest thing to me is that when he came in, he was a breath of fresh air for Mourinho, and I get it. And he'd try to G up the players, and he'd have that mentality like, hey, let's come here. I need to put an arm around this guy and get his motivation up. But, Mourinho wasn't scared to out these players, and sometimes these players need to be afraid of you. And I feel like there ain't no players that are afraid of that manager. They're all friends. And that's as big a problem as the tactics. And you can't just keep coming out every week going, oh, we got this guy lined up. We got this guy in place to come and, help out with Marcus Rashford. Who's going to come in place to help out with Rashford's injury? There's no other forwards, man. I can't believe some of the shit that I read. You got to be you got to be agreeing with me on this, Mark. Sometimes when you look at the papers, you watch the show, or you watch Sky or BBC, you can't believe some of the stuff that is coming out of this guy's mouth. Right?
No, I do agree with you, and I've said it before on here. I think what he gets away with so much, and he gets away with it with me as well. I think of some of the stuff I said about Van Gaal and Mourinho. Fortunately for Moyes, we weren't doing the United stand then, but he gets away with it because of who he is. Because I watch MUTV and I see these goals that he scores, and I'm like, I love that guy. But that's why he gets away with it. I think that's why he stayed in the job. He shouldn't be in the job. Actually, I've said this before. If he wasn't an ex-player of the club and legend, he wouldn't be in the job anymore. He probably would have been sacked around November time. He has had more lives because of who he is. And some of the stuff he comes out with, he gets away with it because of who he is. And I have to agree with it, because I do go along with it. But I also agree with people like yourself who say, how does he get away with it? But I'm one of the victims of that as well. I sit here and say, well, he's a legend. And that is what I've always said about the board. They were very clever in appointing him, because they thought they've got somebody there that's going to protect them for years, who's on cheap money, who they can just not give any money to. But because he's not a good coach, it's not worked out the way they planned. They gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job because he's cheap, because he's a legend, and he would be a buffer to keep the fans happy. But they didn't expect him to be as bad as this. And the problem is, if you get really bad, it doesn't matter whether you're a legend or not, the fans won't put up with it.
Oh my God, it's absolutely sickening, man. It's sickening, and the sentimentality and the loyalty to some guy that banged a couple goals for us. I get it, New Camp '99. I understand, man. I understand he's the babyface assassin, but mate, there's no credentials. There are no credentials of this guy being a manager at any level, championship level even. Leeds have Bielsa running the show. He's managed at Marseille. He's managed all across Europe. He's got a CV. There is no CV on this man. And after these things, like I said, I understand it was a breath of fresh air when he first came in. He wasn't down in the players, but now it's becoming way too much. He comes out after every game. Oh, the money's there if we need it. We might look to strengthen. Might is not even, it's the operative word, man. You must. If you don't, you will fail, and we are failing. I feel physically sick, man. I almost don't even want to watch any TV. I've been offered the chance to go to 5 games this year. I haven't gone to one of them because I can't bring myself to spend the money to fly there to watch that. I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry, Mark, but I can't. I've had enough. I'm fed up.
I get it, Dan. Anyway, nice to hear from you, and we'll get you on again soon, but I appreciate it, and I think you'll resonate with quite a few fans. How are you feeling at the moment?
All right, my man. Take care.
You too, mate. Speak to you soon.
All right. Stay well. Later.
You too. And I think, you know what? Some people won't disagree. Some people will disagree. Some people won't disagree. But that's the other side of the coin. That's how a lot of United fans feel at the moment. Fed up, pissed off, frustrated, disillusioned. And you know what? Would you fly from America to watch United at the moment? Some people would. A lot of people wouldn't. We need Bruno to give a kick up the arse to Jesse and Pereira. Attackers, we need Malan, Osman and Moussa Dembele for about 30 to 40 million. Get these done, says Spartan and Jones. Akshari Shastri says, is Ollie underperforming or overperforming with the squad according to you? Plus, Man United are still paying out the last few managers and their staff. I think he's massively underperforming because I agree, I said at the start of the season, you're going to struggle to get top 6 with that team. But he's underperforming because I watch the matches. Based on the squad, I didn't expect us to get top 6. And I know we're in top 6 at the moment. So it sounds a bit odd. But I judge the football. And we are where we are because everyone else is shit. Not because we deserve to be 5th. We deserve to be 5th because everyone else is crap around us. I didn't expect Arsenal to be this bad. I didn't expect Spurs to be this bad. I think Wolves haven't been that good. Chelsea are dreadful. We should be about 7th or 8th. And also remember, teams like Everton and Watford have not been as good this season, and last season they were. So it's a bad league, and we are where we are, but we could drop very, very easily to mid-table. But the big thing for me is that we're underperforming because the football's so bad. Nick P says Ed Woodward is not a businessman. He worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers as a tax accountant and JP Morgan as a banker. He's pure money and nothing else. And Jordan Such says, Mark, when Ollie says the money is there but it has to be the right player, does he not realise our squad is too crap to keep coming out with those excuses? Right player or not, we need bloody players. And yes, it's me, just become a member. Well, welcome to the Members Club, Jordan. Thanks for the contribution. I don't believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't believe him. He's been saying this for over a year now. The money's there if we want it. Well, look, so how much money's there, Ollie? So let's pretend 100 million's there. There wouldn't be anything left. I'd have it spent in seconds if the money was there. You'd just spend it. If you had 400 million, you'd spend it. So the money's not there. It's an inaccuracy, basically, isn't it? Because we need to spend about 500 million pounds on that squad. So if the money's there, you'd spend it. You'd spend it in no time because there's so much improvement required. So to say the money's there, it's about the right player. We could all name 50 players in every position that we need that are better than what we've got, because what we've got is not good enough. So yeah, I agree with that. What I also wanted to say as well, Klopp would get this squad top 3, says Moritz Hotz. I think Klopp could get us above Leicester, but I don't think he could get us near Man City and Liverpool. I think the enormity of the job is too big for anybody unless they get the money, and at the moment there's no evidence that they're going to get the money. But what I did think about is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best period of Manchester United manager was the first 3 months. You look at Mourinho at Spurs, you look at Arteta at Arsenal. I think Arteta has improved Arsenal. You can see defensively they're better, but they're still not winning games. Mourinho, I mean, look, I think Mourinho's spent, really, and maybe he's a bad example, but using the Arteta and Mourinho examples, they've gone in around the sort of time that Ollie went in as an interim manager for us, and they haven't had a very big bounce. Yet we had a really big bounce, and then it suddenly fell off after 3 months. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and my theory is, at the start when you come in, you can't instantly change things tactically to the extent that it stays like that consistency. I think what you can do is you can motivate and inspire. And if you look at like Nigel Pearson at Watford, what he's done, he's motivated and he's inspired and he's given that team a purpose. And I think what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did, he came into a squad that was so on its knees, so fed up of Mourinho, so fed up of being criticised. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Mr. Positive. He's a go out there and enjoy yourself man. And I think that's what happened. He came in and said, "You Manchester United players, I'm a legend. Go out there and enjoy yourself. Go out there and prove everybody that Mourinho was the problem." And I think for 3 months they did. And it wasn't tactical. I think for 3 months they just went out and enjoyed themselves and were liberated. And then after 3 months they got tired and were like, what's next? And then there wasn't anything next because that's all Ollie had. All he had was go out and enjoy yourself. Tactically, I haven't got anything. And I think then, from March to now, we've just seen that gradual decline. Because going out and enjoying yourself and being liberated only works for the first 3 months that you're liberated. And I think that's what's happened. And I think you can clearly see that when you look at someone like Arteta, who is tactically very good and is trying to build something at Arsenal. But he can't just say go out there and enjoy yourself because he wants to get the team long-term consistently better. And he's implementing the tactics, which takes time. Go out there and enjoy yourself gets you a bit of bounce. But go out there and start playing the way I want you to, and you're going to have to change the way you play. That takes time, and I think that's what happened with Ollie. And so I've only really thought about it recently because I could never really give it the time to think about it. Welcome to Bill Al Khan, latest member of the United Stand Members Club, and Hakeem Ziak says Man United should sign me and my bro Van der Beek, sack Ollie and get Ten Hag in. Yeah, I think a lot of people would like you to come in as well. Josh S and Andre Westan, thank you, latest members of the United Stand Members Club. I want to say this. That's probably the best show we've done in ages. We will be doing more call-ins. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to all the callers. Please do smash a like on the video for them. It's their show when it's a call-in, and I think they were all great. I want to get more of you on. The Discord invite link is in the video description. Click it after this. Go and have a play around. There'll be live comments. You can chat. You can go into the live... you can be chatting away 24 hours if there's people in the voice groups. You can also get involved in the typey ones as well. Get yourself familiar with it. Hang about in it. Get on there every day if you want. There's lots of stuff going on. I pop in there as well. But get yourself familiar for the next call-ins we're going to do. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. We will be live later on tonight if there is anything to go live upon. I'm not expecting it. So tomorrow morning, We normally do a 7 a.m. transfer daily, but there is an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference at 10, so I'll combine the two and be live at 10 o'clock. Interesting to see what he's got to say this time. Thanks to all of you. I loved that show tonight. The interaction from both the live comments and the calls, really, really enjoyable. I want to do more of them. It's about fitting them in when there's games, but in a couple of weeks, we haven't got games for a couple of weeks, so we'll definitely do loads, but it's normally every Monday night. I'll try and get another one in this week, but I can't make any promises. But I loved the show. Love all of you lot. Fantastic show. Loads. We got through so much as well. Lots of different topics. Welcome to Joshua Randall, latest standard member of the Nightstand Members Club. And finally, Ian Cooper says, if we are overperforming in terms of the position we are in, 5th, and underperforming in the football we play, how do you expect Ed Woodward and the Glazers to sack Ollie if they don't know anything about football? Well, exactly. We haven't got football people at the club, and I think that's it. But what a show tonight. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. And I will speak to you all in the morning, if not before.